Okay, so let us start. We could start with 3 bows to the Buddha. 1, 2, 3. Then the salutation. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. How is the sound quality of my voice? It's okay?
Sounds good, Bhante.
Okay. Because last week, I think there was some problem at a certain point. Okay, so we're in paragraph now, number 246. I see Thomas John. Maybe would you want to be the responder today?
Yes, Bhante.
Okay. So we're continuing now with the reading of the Alagadupama Sutta. This is Majjhima Nikaya Sutta number 22. And so the Buddha in the previous paragraph section, he's gone through the metaphorical description of the Arahant. Now he continues. Evang vimutta chittang ko bhikkhave bhikkhum.
Evam vimutta chittam ko bhikkhave bhikkkhum.
Yeah, it should be Sa inda deva, sa brahmaka, sa pajapatika.
Sa inda deva, sa brahmaka, sa pajapatika.
Anvesang nadi gachanti.
Anvesam nadigachanti.
Idang nisitang tathagatasa vinyananti.
Idan nisitam tathagatasa vinyananti.
Tankisa hetu.
Tanke sahetu.
Ditev ahang bhikkhave dhamme.
Dittevaham bhikkave dhamme.
Tathagatang ananuvijoti vadami.
Tathagatam ananuvijjoti vadami.
Okay, so in the first sentence, we have vimutta chittang as a bahubihi compound describing bhikkhung. So bhikkhung is the accusative object, a monk, and the monk is one who is it should be actually evang vimutta chittang, one thus liberated in mind in the way elucidated in the previous section. Okay, so then we have the subjects in the nominative case. So the actual subject is deva, the gods, the deities. And then the deities are described with a number of adjectives which are formed from names, actually. It's the devas together with Indra. Indra is the ruler of the gods or at least one of the names of the ruler of the gods in the Vedic system. Sabrahmaka, so this is with Brahma, with the deity Brahma. And Sapajapatika, so this is an adjective formed from Pajapati, and Pajapati, yeah, I got to clarify this. Elaine Daniellou's Myths and Gods of India, the classic work on Hindu polytheism. So on Prajapati, it says, in the Vedas, the creator is known as Prajapati, in every case, the name Prajapati, that's the Sanskritized form, refers to the creative aspect, that is the Brahma aspect of divinity. In particular hymn of the Rig Veda, Prajapati, moved by desire and fear of loneliness, exerts his heat and duplicates himself. And he's said to be the source of what is not and of what is. So anyway, this is one of the names of the creative deities in the Vedas. But in any case, the important point is that it's all of the devas. Then unvesang. What grammatical form is unvesang? Anybody?
Is it Bhante present participle?
Yeah, right. And what case? Actually, it's a bit irregular here. Actually, this is a little bit interesting.
It's
What is that?
accusative. No idea.
It's the nominative, but strangely, the form is the nominative singular, at least the way we usually see it. But it should be plural. And so you can see I pasted in the commentary here. So it takes unvesang, then it closes it unvesanta, gavesanta. So it used the commentary, fills it out or explicates it with the nominative plural, which is the expected form because the subject is deva, a plural. And then the main verb is also a plural, third person plural. Adigachanti, na adigachanti. So when the gods, with all of the devas, with these other primary gods, are searching or examining, investigating a monk who is thus liberated in mind, they do not find, they do not discover, and what they don't discover is indicated by idang nisitang tathagatasa vinyanam. They don't discover this consciousness of the Tathagata is supported, I think this should be treated as a compound, is supported by this. Or maybe not. But the idea is that what they don't find is a consciousness of the Tathagata, and that is, here Tathagata is representing not just the Buddha, but the liberated monk, the Arhat. It's used in a more general sense. So they don't find the consciousness of a Tathagata with a particular support. And usually the word nisaya, or this is, nisitang is a past participle, but the noun nisaya implies either crave it, the way that's close in the commentaries, by way of craving and views. So they don't find the consciousness of the Tathagata to be based on anything connected with craving or wrong views, speculative views. And then the text goes on to say something a bit sort of maybe perplexing or provocative. So it says, what is the reason for this? And then it goes on to say, first we saw with the verb I say, we have ahang is the subject, I. So, and then the verb vadami, I say that diteva dhamme means in this very life, in this present life. I say of the Tathagata that he is unanuvijo. And we'll see the meaning of unanuvijo. Of course, the commentary gives two explanations. So let's look at the commentary here. Like this is one of the most, let's say, perplexing or mystifying or challenging passages in the whole Pali Sutta Pitaka. And it leads to many different interpretations or theories among scholars and interpreters. Okay, so first the statement, as for the first sentence. So when it says that the consciousness of one who is liberated, who is thus liberated, so then the commentary says, he says this showing, so dasanto is the present participle, showing the unadigamaniya. That's the undiscoverable or unfindable nature of the consciousness, the vijnana of an arhat kinasava, who is thus liberated in mind, undiscoverable or unfindable by others. So he shows that the consciousness of the arhat, thus liberated in mind, is undiscoverable or unfindable by others. Okay, then it explains unvesang by unvesanto, gavesanto, and dependent on this. Then with the word tathagatassa here, it says, this, I'm not so sure that I agree with this, but it says, by the word tathagata, what is intended here is both sato, which means a being, a living being, and also the kinasava. The kinasava is one who has destroyed the asavas. In other words, an arhat, the uttama pugalo, the supreme person, the arhat. So the commentary is saying that the word tathagata could be taken in two senses, either in the general sense of a sentient being, but a sentient being taken as a self, or as kinasava, as an arhat. And then it explains the word unanuvijo as in two senses. One is asangvijamano, which means not truly existing, or avindeo, which means unfindable or unknowable. Okay, then it goes on and says, if the word tathagata is taken in the sense of a living being, then the meaning of asangvijamano, non-existing, is appropriate, applies. Because a being, at least the being taken as self, does not exist according to Buddhism. But if the word tathagata is taken in the sense of the kinasava, that's the arhat, then the meaning of being unfindable or unknowable is appropriate. Okay, then it goes on to elaborate. So it says, this is the intention in regard to the first alternative, that is taking Tathagata to signify a living being. So now it paraphrases, "O monks, I do not proclaim that in this very life, the living Arhat is a Tathagata as a being or a person. And then it says, let's put it this way. Why should I describe the Arhat who has no more rebirth, who has attained Nibbana? Why should I describe him as a being or as an individual? So in that sense, the Tathagata is anuvijo, as not existing, because the Arhat doesn't exist as a being or a person. Then it goes on, because in the ultimate sense, there is no being. And so if one searches for the consciousness of that which is not existing, to see what it's dependent on, or if they are searching for the consciousness of that which is not existing, to see what it's dependent upon, how will they find it? That is, how will they obtain it? Okay, but now if one takes the second alternative, where one understands Tathagata in the sense of the Arhat, so I say that in this very life, that the Arhat, even while living, even while existing, is unfindable by way of consciousness, by Indra and the other gods. For the Devas, together with Indra, with Brahma, with Pajapati, even those seeking, are not able to know the insight chitta of an Arhat, or the path chitta, or the fruition chitta, and to know the object upon which that chitta depends. So how will they know the consciousness of the one who has no more rebirth, who has attained final Nibbana? So that's the commentary. We won't try to settle the real meaning of this passage here, just as long as we understand the vocabulary and the grammar. That's enough. Okay, so any questions about this regarding grammar, vocabulary?
Bante,
Yeah.
is the indicative verb for anuvijati, but anuvijati is in the active sense. So we should find a passive verb, right? Instead.
Well, anuvijo would be a future passive participle. I think maybe maybe the active form would be anovindati. So I'm not sure that this actually occurs. Let me just see if it occurs at all in the text. Yeah, there's no hits for anovindati. Let's see the plural. No. Anuvijati. Only in one late. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be an occurrence of a finite verb related to anuvijo. But it would be probably from the active form would be anuvindati, and the passive would be anuvijati. And this is the future passive participle. Let me just see here. Okay, any other questions?
Bhante?
Yeah.
Could you post this section, this passage of commentary on chat so that I can read it more closely later?
Okay.
Thank you.
Bante,
Yeah, let me just paste. Let me just put. Okay, it's there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bhante. Yes.
Yeah. You had a question?
yes, Bante, can we take Vesannatikachanti as an idiomatic expression rather than a very irregular present participle?
No, I would take it as just the present participle followed by a negation of an indicative verb. I'm just looking for it elsewhere. Yeah, it occurs, I see, in some place in the Samyutta Nikaya, Sagata Vagga. So when one is thus sort of detached and attained to security and has transcended all fetters, then even the army of Mara, searching in all places, does not find one, did not find him. Oh, actually, we do see it several other cases. This is in the Gaudika Sutta in the Samyutta Nikaya. This is in the Mara Samyutta, where Mara is searching for the consciousness of Gaudika, a monk who has attained arhatship and passed away. So above, below, and across in all of the directions and minor directions. While searching there, I did not find where Gaudika has gone. Okay, any other questions?
Bhante, they are all nominative singular.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
singulars, yeah. Yeah, so this is the use of the singular here. It's rather irregular. Yeah, anyway, I don't think we should lose more time over this. Any other questions? Okay, so let's move on then. Okay, so now the Buddha's continuing. Evang vading komang bhikkhave.
Evam vadin komam bhikkhave.
Evang, should be evam akaying.
Evam akhaim.
Ake samana brahmana.
Eke samana brahmana.
Asatta tucha musa. Abhutena abachi kanti.
Asata tuchha musa. Abhutena abhachikhanti.
Venayiko samano gotamo.
Venaiko samano gotamo.
Sato satasa uchedang vinasang vibhavang panya petiti.
Sato sattasa uchedam vinasam vibhavam panyapetiti.
Okay, so the object here in the accusative is mang, that's the Buddha's referring to himself as me, and then the me is described by two compounds virtually the same in meaning. Evang vading, speaking thus, and evam akaying, teaching thus, declaring thus. Then there are some ascetics and Brahmins, and then we have actually four words, almost the same meaning. Asatta is with what is not true. Tucha is like falsely. Tucha, Musa is falsely. Abhutena with what is not real. Tucha, I'm just trying to we lack sufficient words for falsehood in English. False. Falsely. Dishonestly, wrong. Yeah, wrongly is okay. Incorrectly. So we could just say incorrectly, erroneously, falsely again. Abachi kanti is to misrepresent or even to slander. So they slander or misrepresent me. When I speak thus, when I teach thus, these ascetics and Brahmins misrepresent me. And this is what they say, the way they misrepresent the Buddha. They say the ascetic Gautama is, I'll leave this untranslated for now, that he's a Venayiko and that he panyapeti, he proclaims or points out the ucheda, this is the annihilation, vinasa, the destruction, vibhavang, maybe we could say the extermination of sato. This is the genitive singular of the verb ati, existing, and satta is a being, a living being. And so they declare, or they misrepresent the Buddha by saying that he proclaims the annihilation, the destruction, and the eradication of a truly existing being. So for that reason, the ascetic Gautama is a Vinayiko. And the word Vinayiko, this is based on the word Vinaya, which, of course, you know that one of the meanings of Vinaya is monastic discipline, but it also has the meaning of removal, the removal of something. But it can also have the meaning maybe of, it comes from V, which sometimes has a negative meaning, plus Naya from the verb neti, to guide or to lead. And in this case, it would be to lead away, in the sense, I think the way it's being used as a term of denigration, as one who leads astray. Like maybe in present day America, maybe calling somebody an atheist, or at least in earlier decades used to have a negative connotation.
Bhante?
Yeah, I just wanted to get the commentary on this Vinayika. Yeah, so the commentary explains Vinayika. Let me just put it in. Okay, is from the verb vinayati or vinati, and then it gloses it with vinasati, one who destroys. And so one who destroys is a vinayaka. And the intention here is that to say that the Buddha teaches the destruction of a being, because these ascetics and Brahmins would be adherents of the doctrine of Atmavadins. And so since the Buddha teaches non-self, they think that he is one who teaches the destruction of an existing being. Okay, somebody had the comment or question?
Bhante, would a nihilist also be a...
Actually, that was the word. That's the good word. That's the better word. Nihilist is better. Yeah, not atheist, but nihilist. Yeah, that's actually the best. He's a nihilist. Okay, so the Buddha is saying that this is a false accusation. Okay, we could just take this reading. Okay, so then he continues, Yatha chahang na bhikkhave,
Yatha chaham na bhikkave,
Yatha chahang na vadami,
yatha chaham na vadami,
Tata mang te bonto samana brahmana, satta tucha musa abhutena abachi kanti.
tatha mante bhonto samana brahmana asata tuchha musa abhutena abhachikhanti.
Okay, so the way I would understand this is he's saying, as I am not. I think we have to understand here, maybe implied is asmi, na asmi, as I am not, and as I do not speak. Just in that way, those ascetics and Brahmins falsely, erroneously, misleadingly, and so on, misrepresent me, saying the ascetic Gautama is a nihilist. He proclaims the annihilation, the destruction, the eradication of an existing being. And then he continues, Pube chahang bhikkhave etarahi cha.
Ubbe chaham bhikkhave etarahi cha
Dukhancheva panyapemi.
dukhancheva panyapemi
Dukkasa cha nirodham.
dukkhasya cha nirodham.
Okay, so he says, in the past, O monks, and now, I teach just dukkha, or suffering, and the cessation of suffering. And then he goes on to say, Tatra che bhikkhave pare tathagatang akosanti paribasanti rosanti vihesanti.
Tatra che bhikkhave pare tathagatam akkosanti paribhasanti rosenti vihesenti.
Tatra bhikkhave tathagatasa nahoti agato.
Tatra bhikkhave tathagatasa na hoti aghato
Na apachayo,
na apachayo
na chetaso anabhiradhi.
na chetaso anabhiradhi.
So he says, therein, O monks, if others, as other people, then akosanti is like abuse. Paribasanti would be maybe revile. Rosanti would be scold. Vihesanti, harass, to cause trouble, to trouble the Tathagata over this matter, over what he teaches. Therein, that is in regard to this matter, for the Tathagata, there is not agato, would be annoyance, irritation. Na apachayo, maybe you could say no resentment, and no chetaso anabhirati, no displeasure of mind. I just want to see how these were rendered. Yeah, I had, on that account, the Tathagata feels no annoyance, bitterness, or dejection of the heart. And then the opposite, Tatra che bhikkhave pare Tathagatang sakaronti.
Tatra che bhikkhave pare tathagatam sakkaroti
Garum karonti,
garum karonti
manenti pujanti,
manenti pujenti.
tatra bhikkhave,
Tatra bhikkhave
tathagatasa nahoti anando,
tathagatasya na hoti anando
nasomanasang,
na somanasam
nachetaso upila vitatang.
na chetaso uppilavitattam.
So there, that is in regard to this, if others honor the Tathagata. Garum karonti is show respect to him. Manenti, esteem him. Pujayanti, venerate the Tathagata. There, that is, in regard to that, for the Tathagata, there is no joy, no delight, no joy, and no, here I have elation, upliftment of the mind. And then it continues. Tatrache bhikkhave pare vata tagatang sakaronti garun karonti manenti pujayanti. Okay, just we don't have to read together. I'll just continue. Tatra bhikkhave tathagatasa evang hoti. It just starts from Tatra bhikkhave.
Tatra bhikkhave tathagatasa evam hoti.
Yanko idang pube parinyatang
Yankho idam pubbe parinyatam.
tata me eva rupa kara kariyanti.
Tathame eva rupakara kariyanti.
So again, if others honor, respect, esteem, and venerate the Tathagata because of that, then such occurs to the Tathagata. And this also a little bit perplexing, but he says that this which was previously understood, therein such, I think the may should represent ime. Therein, in regard to that, such deeds as these are done. So this occurs to the Tathagata, that such deeds as these are done in regard to this that was previously understood. Here in the Nyanamoli translation, it has, they perform such services as these towards that which earlier was fully understood. And let's see if the commentary sheds some light on this. Yeah, so it says this which was previously understood. So it says that this is referring to the 5 aggregates that were previously understood at the seat of the Bodhi tree. In other words, the place where he attained enlightenment. So it's referring to so when others are showing honor, respect, esteem, and so on, he doesn't think they are showing respect to me, they are honoring me, they're esteeming me, but they're just doing these deeds towards these 5 aggregates that had been fully understood in the past. Then I'll just go through next part quickly, and then we could take some questions. So then he says, therefore, O monks, if others should abuse you, revile you, scold you, harass you, for you, I think this should be joined. In regard to that, by you, no resentment, no irritation, no displeasure of mind should be done. And therefore, O monks, if others should honor, respect, esteem, and venerate you, there, by you, no delight, no joy, no elation of mind should be done. Therefore, if others honor, respect, esteem, and venerate you, you should think thus. Such deeds as these are done towards that which was fully understood earlier. That's assuming, it seems, that the monks he's speaking to are already arhats. Okay, are there any questions then on anything that has come in this passage?
Well, Bante, a very basic question. It's about Venaiko. Is this the nihilist? Is this some kind of ucheta ditti, like when sentience died and all is gone?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, that's what they're accusing the Buddha of being, like an adherent of the annihilationist view.
I see. And what the Buddha preaches is the ending of suffering. And however, in a state of nirvana, there is no existence, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, but it's a different kind of non-existent.
Yeah, but you see, I guess the difference is that these ascetics and Brahmins are assuming that the living being has a self, an Atman. And since the Buddha teaches anatman, non-self, and that nibbana is not the eternal existence of a self. And so they're thinking that what he's teaching is that a living being really has a self, but when they attain nibbana, that self is eradicated and destroyed and doesn't exist. So that's what they're accusing the Buddha of teaching.
Thank you.
Because they can't conceive how a person could exist without a permanent self. And what the Buddha is teaching is that the living being is just the assemblage of the five aggregates. And with the attainment of the five aggregates, and those five aggregates are anicca, dukkha, anatta, impermanent, unsatisfactory, not self. And with the attainment of nibbana, then the continuum of the five aggregates comes to an end.
Mm-hmm. I see. So it's basically, well, it's comparing Buddha with what's it? Ajita Kesa Kumbhala, yeah.
Yeah, he was the proponent of the Nattika Vada, the annihilationist. Okay, any other questions?
Bante, can we take that may in tata may evarupa kara simply to mean to me?
Let's see. And tata. Yeah, it would seem that would work when the Buddha is speaking with reference to himself. So therein, actually, maybe it would work also. Let's see. Yeah, the reason I was taking it to be ime, it seems maybe it's a bit ambiguous. Because when you get to the plural, when he's addressing the monks, he says that you should think thus, that such deeds are done to me on account of that which was previously fully understood. There you would think that if he's speaking to the monks in the plural, that you would have no. And it seems like some editions have no rather than may. But it seems that the editor of the Sixth Council edition is taking the tata me to represent tata ime with padachedo. That would be the removal of a syllable, the syllable being the I. Yes, but it is somewhat ambiguous.
Bante, if we take it as email, should we cross that space in between tata and may?
You mean put it this way?
Yeah, or simply eliminate the space.
This way?
Yeah.
I don't think you would ever see it printed this way.
Okay, then put an apostrophe there.
Yeah.
Instead of a space.
Yeah, because the Asian editions don't use these, what do you call these, punctuation marks like we have in the Roman script edition. So even when you see the Sixth Council version, all of these punctuation marks are added by the editors of the Sixth Council edition in Burma. But if you look at the old Asian manuscripts, there's just virtually no punctuation, only half stops and full stops.
Thank you, Bante. I have another question. Could
Okay.
you explain evang vading and evang akayin?
Explain them. Okay, so Evang Vading, so this is based on, Vada is a statement, an assertion, and then one who makes an assertion is Vadin. So that's one speaking thus. And Akaya I think it's Akaya. Akaya would be a declaration, an explanation. And then one who makes an explanation is Akayan. And then it forms the accusative just with ing. And then it has the avang indicating the manner. And I think then they join to form a compound. Avang is an indeclinable together with a noun. And then functioning as a bahu bihi describing mang, me. Does that make it clear?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, anything else?
Bhante?
Yeah.
Yes, Bhante. I just noticed that in the commentary, the definition of apachayu is glossed as domanasam. I just noticed that.
Yeah.
So Bhante, apachayo basically, I think it also means something without a cause.
No,
So
yeah,
I was,
I should have explained that. This apachayo is a completely different word, but the pachayo part is a completely different word from the word pachaya, meaning condition. Let me see if I could get that in the dictionary.
yes, Bhante.
Yeah, I believe this pachaya is derived from a verb. Okay, the verb in Pali would be pati tiyati. It's in the Pali English dictionary, and it is the equivalent of Sanskrit. Pratistayate. And it has the meaning given here that's most relevant is to offer resistance. And I'm sure that I have a note on this in the Samyutta Nikaya translation. Let me just look for it. I know I can't find it right now. Yeah, but in any case, this is the verb from which the noun pachaya is derived. This word pachaya,
Okay, Bhante.
excuse me.
Yes, Bhante. I got it.
But then apachaya gives a negative sense. Let me just put it on hold for now. I just have to look this up.
Yes, Bhante. No problem, Bhante.
Yeah, it might be with the prefix a plus pratyaya. Has anybody looked that up?
Bhante, in the digital Pali reader, they have this definition. Apatita honti tena atutha asomanasita iti apacchayo.
Are you able to copy that and paste it into the chat box?
Yes, Bhante, I will paste it.
Okay. Okay, until that gets pasted, any other questions?
Bhante, have done that.
Okay. Yeah, it's not the unconditioned. Okay, so this would be the Digha Nikaya commentary. Closes it with apatita. So that's atuta, discontent, asomanasita. So that's the opposite of somanasa. So non-joyfulness. So that's a pachayo. And then it's taken to be a designation for domanas. What's that upside down?
Bhante, that is the O. It is just printed like that.
Oh, I see, I see. But it's always domanas sung, I think it should be. So it's a designate, or it should be domanasasa, a designation for domanasa.
Bhante, I believe it is Domanasas.
Yeah,
It is just a computer related thing.
yeah. Okay, so it's equivalent to this apatitang, meaning discontent or dissatisfaction. It's not the negation of pachaya, meaning a condition. Okay, shall we go on to the next section then? Okay, so now we're in 247. So we're going to have another famous simile coming up. So tasmati habikave
Tasmati habhikave
yang natum hakang tang pajahata.
yan natum hakam tam pajahata
Tungvo pahinang
tam vopahinam
digaratang hitaya sukhaya bhavisati.
digaratum hitaya sukhaya bhavisati.
Okay, so now the Buddha says, therefore, O monks, that which, whatever is not yours, abandon that. So pajahata is what kind of verb?
Imperative.
Yeah, so it's second person plural imperative. So whatever is not yours, abandon that. Then that, when that is abandoned by you, it will be for welfare, for happiness, for a long time. Digaratang is an idiom. Literally, it means a long night, but it takes on an acquired meaning of a long time. So when you abandon that which is not yours, then that will lead to your well-being and happiness for a long time. And then he says, this we just go through quickly. So, and what, O monks, is not yours? Then he says, rupa, material form, is not yours. Abandon it. When that is abandoned, that abandoned will lead to your welfare and happiness for a long time. Feeling is not yours. Abandon that. That abandoned will be for your welfare and happiness for a long time. Then the same with sanya, with sankharas, with vijnana. So in other words, the five aggregates are not yours. Abandon them. When they're abandoned, this will lead to your welfare and happiness for a long time. So any questions about this?
Bhante,
Yeah.
can we translate Tamvopahinam as that having been abandoned?
Yeah, I would say that, yeah.
Thank you, Bhante.
It would seem that what one would expect, at least by way of the sense, is a locative absolute here. Tasmin vo pahine, when that is abandoned, then for a long time it will be for your welfare and happiness. But here it's speaking as if the five aggregates themselves abandoned will lead to your welfare and happiness for a long time. But it's just a matter of speaking. Okay, shall we go on to the next? So now we have the simile. Tung king manyata bhikkhave,
Tam kim manyatha bhikkhave
yang imasmin jetavane,
yam imasmin jetavane
tina kata saka palasam,
trinakattha sakha palasam
tung jano hareyava daheyava yata pachayangva kareya.
tanjano harayava dahayava yathapachem va karaya.
Yeah, I think these words should be, I think it should be the retroflex D. Okay, so the Buddha says, what do you think, O monks? That which is in this Jeta's grove, that which is the tina is grass or the reeds, kata is wood, saka are branches, and palasa is the foliage of the trees. So we have the young, that which, then tung jano. So if people, hareya is the optative of harati, to remove. So if people, or to take away, if people were to take that, or to burn that, or were to do whatever they want with it, whatever they need. Probably should be the same sentence. Would it occur to you thus? In other words, would you think thus? People are taking us away or burning us. or they're doing whatever they want with us. And then the monks say, no he tang Bhante. So certainly not, Venerable. Then tung kisa hetu, why is that? Then the monks say, nahi no etang Bhante atava ataniyang va. So the reason, because this is not, the no here is our, this is not our self or what belongs to the self. So if people take the branches and trees and the reeds, the weeds away, then they're not taking our self away or the belonging of ourself. So then the Buddha continues, in the same way, what is not yours, abandon that. That being abandoned by you will lead for a long time to your welfare and happiness. Then he just repeats in regard to the 5 aggregates. Okay, I think maybe we should pause here for the sutta, and that will leave just a short portion that we'll finish up next time. And next Monday is the Labor Day, so we won't have a class, we won't have a Pali class next Monday, but I will be giving a 3-day Abhidhamma program through the BAUS website. You could register for it through the BAUS website, but it's being given through Dharma College in Berkeley, California. So it will be on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. That's in California time. It is 10 a.m. to 12 noon. In Mountain time, 11 to 1 p.m. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if you're available and you're interested, you can join that program. It will deal with chapters 5 and 6 of the Manual of Abhidhamma on different realms of existence, different types of karma, and the process of death and rebirth according to the Abhidharma, and material form in chapter 6.
Excuse me, Bhante, how do we join it at the same Zoom address?
You go to the BAUS website, and then I think on the home page of BAUS, let me just look myself.
As Bhante, under activities.
The whole website. Okay.
Under activities.
Yeah.
What is our website? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you go down, you just go down on the home page, and you'll
Okay.
see the Abhidhamma philosophy of the Theravada tradition.
Okay.
Then you click on that link, and then it will get you, you enroll for it, and then you get the link to join it. It's coming out from Dharma College. And then you get the comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma. Yeah, so that's September 4th, 5th, and 6th. So we deal with the chapters 5 and 6. Okay, so let us take a little break. Let's see what exactly the time is now. (2:20). So let's take 7-minute break. So 2:27. Then we'll start with the Sutta Nipata.
Thank you, Bante.
Okay, and let me pause the recording. Okay, so now we come to the Sutta Nipata part of the class, and we are now starting the second chapter of Sutta Nipata called Chulavago, which means the smaller chapter, because it has fewer verses than the next chapter, which is the Mahavagga, the large chapter. And the first sutta in this chapter is called the Ratana Sutta, the sutta on gems, precious gems. And this is one of the most popular suttas in the Theravada tradition because it's considered to be a protective discourse, which is recited often for the purpose of dispelling calamities. And so nowadays it's probably being recited very often in the Theravada countries like Sri Lanka and Myanmar to ward off the disaster from the COVID pandemic. Okay, so we're starting with verse 222. So again, we recite, and it's the meter of this is the Tristup, 11 syllables per line. Yani dabhutani samagatani,
Yani dabhutani samagatani,
bhumani vayani vaantalike,
Bhummani vayani va antalike,
sabeva bhuta sumana bhavantu,
Sabbeva bhuta sumana bhavantu,
atopi sakacha sunantu basitam.
Athopi sakkacha sunantu bhasitam.
Okay, so the speaker, according to the tradition, the sutta was spoken by the Buddha when there was a calamity, disasters in the city of Vesali, disasters caused by famine, by plague, and by evil spirits. And so the Buddha taught the sutta to Venerable Ananda, who took a bowl of water and recited the sutta with the bowl of water in his arms. And then he went around the city dispersing the water. And as he dispersed the water, all of the evil spirits fled. And then the plague was ended. And everybody got well, and prosperity again took hold of the city. So now the speaker is saying, Yan Ida, so that's Yani plus Ida. So Ida is here, and Yani goes with Bhutani. And here apparently it's addressed, one of the meanings of Bhuta is living beings, but sometimes it takes on the narrowest sense of spirits, invisible spirits. So the speaker is saying, whatever spirits there are, samagatani, which means come together or gathered. So you could recognize gata, the past participle of gone, plus a, which gives a sense of, instead of gone, come, and sung, some gives a sense of together. So whatever spirits have come together here, have assembled here, then he says, and these spirits could be bhumani. Bhumani is an adjective formed from the word bhumi, which means, one of the meanings is the earth. And so bhumani are that which pertains to the earth. So these are earth spirits, or Antilike, this means in the sky. So these are spirits dwelling in the sky. So whatever spirits have assembled here, whether they be those which are earth dwelling or in the sky. Then he says, Sabeva Bhuta Sumana Bhavantu. And notice that he's speaking to about the same subject, but the gender changes because I guess this is just for the convenience of verse. So in line 1, it's neuter plural, and in line 2, it's masculine plural. And then the sub-A is, or actually it could be represented sabeva. So all spirits, may they be happy. So may all the spirits be happy. So first he's sending like loving kindness to the spirits, wishing them to be sumana, to be joyful or happy. Then he says ato. So ato is the same as atta, then, but probably to meet for the meter, it becomes ato. Then sunanto, let them listen, basitang, to what is spoken, to what is going to be said. Let them listen to what is to be said. Sakacha. Sakacha means respectfully or carefully. So whatever spirits have assembled here, whether they be spirits of the earth or in the sky, may all those spirits be joyful, and then let them listen to what is spoken carefully. So any questions on this?
Bhante, in the second line, if instead of the masculine sumana, if the neuter had been used, what would have been the word?
You mean for sumana?
Yeah.
Then it would
If
have been,
gender were retained just like the first line.
yeah, it would have been sumanani,
Oh,
which sounds a bit weird, I have to say.
thank you, Bhante.
Okay, then any other questions on verse 222?
Bhante, I have a quick question about the instructions that are being given there. So is that something that occurs elsewhere, to wish well and then invite a listening attitude with respect?
To invite what?
An attitude of respectful listening.
What do you mean recited elsewhere?
Well, I'm just wondering if this appears elsewhere, this kind of instruction where those who are being invited to listen are, first of all, they are extended the metta wish, be happy.
I don't know of any other passage which is exactly like this. There might be other passages which have that flavor, but I don't know another passage with exactly the same.
Okay, thank you.
The same wording. Okay, so now we go to verse 223. Tasmahi bhuta nisameta sabe
Tasma hi bhutani sametha sabbe
metang karota manusya pajaya
mettan karotha manasya pajaya
divacharatocha haranti ye baling
divacharato chaharanti ye balim
tasmahi ne rakata appamata.
tasma hine rakhatha apamatta.
Okay, so then he continues and says, therefore, being, so he's addressing the being, sabbe bhuta, all these beings, nisa meta, let them pay attention or let them listen. I think nisa meti, I think, has both meanings. Let's just see if we can get it. Yeah, the commentary for Nisa Meta gives simply sunata, let them listen. So therefore, let all the beings listen. And then he says, metang karota manusya pajaya, let them do, or actually he's using here the second person plural imperative. Therefore, and I think then the Bhuta here would be sabbe Bhuta, probably vocative. Therefore, all beings listen. Then metang karota, do loving kindness for, we have here manusya pajaya. So manusya is an adjective based on manusa, human, and paja, we could say, is the population. So let them extend loving kindness to the human population. And why should they extend loving kindness to the human population? Because divacharatocha haranti ye baling, who day and night bring bali. Bali is, we could say, offerings. It's like ritual offerings. Let's see what the commentary says. Those humans. Actually, it's rather complicated, the explanation. But basically, do you have the word maybe in contemporary Marathi or Hindi, a word corresponding to Bali?
Bhante, it's
Bhante,
there
we
in
do have
lots of Indian languages, Bali.
You do have it with that same meaning.
Yeah, sometimes it means like a offering with a sacrificial animal. That
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
an offering is the most common meaning for that.
yeah. But in Buddhism, of course, you don't have the sacrifice of animals, but it'd be like offering, I guess there would be shrines set up for the different devas in ancient India, and then people would bring offerings of maybe rice and wheat and maybe some other fruits, and offer them at the shrine to the deities, the devas. Even in Sri Lanka, in the Buddhist temples, there'll be along the side, there'll be shrines set up for some of the Indian deities like Vishnu, Kataragama, Lokanatha, and some of the other deities, Sumana, Patini, and then people will make offerings along the side to those deities. So day and night, the human beings, they bring you their offerings. So therefore, uppamata, you should be diligent or heedful and protect them. And the word ne is just a variant on te, them. So therefore, all you beings listen, practice loving kindness towards the human population. I think this is probably dative case so it could be locative. I think it's a dative case. So practice loving kindness towards the human population who day and night bring offerings to you. So therefore, being heedful, protect them. Okay, now comes the main part of the sutta, in which the blessings are going to be, the blessing power is going to be created by reciting the virtues of the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And so we come to verse 224, Yang kinchi vitang ida va hurang va.
Yankinchivittam idava huramva
Sage suva yang ratanang panitang.
sagge suvayam ratanam panitam
No samang ati tathagatena.
nano samamarthita thagatena
Idampi buddhe ratanang panitang.
idampi buddhe ratanam panitam.
Okay, so yang kinchi vitang. So whatever treasure there is, vitang is anything of value, anything like a treasure here that is in this world or beyond in the heavenly realms, or that which is the ratanang panitang. This is the excellent jewel in the heavens. So apparently there was some kind of special jewel, maybe the crown jewel of Indra in the heavenly realms. The commentary has a long track on jewels. And it says there is none equal to the Tathagata. I just noticed a double negation here, but I don't know what that second no is, what that no is. I thought that I knew the sutta so well that I didn't have to look up these words. Now suddenly I discover a double negation.
Bhante explained it before as for us.
Maybe, when did I explain that?
Long time ago in Bodhi Monastery.
Oh, you still have the notes for that?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So then, okay, the no then must be for us. So for us, there is none equal to the Tathagata. So this is the excellent or sublime jewel in the Buddha. And etena sachena, by this truth, suwati. Suwati is good fortune. And hotu, let there be good fortune. So this is sort of the creating the blessing power. This is called the declaration of truth. So whatever jewel, whatever treasure there is here or beyond, or that which is the sublime jewel in the heavens, for us there is none equal to the Tathagata. This is the sublime jewel in the Buddha. By this truth, let there be well-being or good fortune. I think suwati is simply ati, which means there is, plus su, which means good. That which is good. Su plus ati, and then the V is put in just to connect the two vowels. But if we were to have this in Sanskrit, the Sanskrit word would be swasti. And then there's a symbol for good fortune based on the word swasti. In that symbol for good fortune is called swastika, which is, I have a drawing tool. Whoops. So that is the swastika, which was misappropriated by the Germans, by the Nazis, and used as their symbol of hate. But originally in India, it was a symbol of good fortune, of blessings. But the Germans, actually, the Nazis, didn't call it the swastika, but they called it, they used a German expression, the crooked cross.
Yeah, Hakenkreuz.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah,
Hakenkreuz, yeah.
yeah, terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. How do I get off? I don't know how to get out of the writing tool. Anyway, I'm stuck there. Okay. Okay, we go to verse 225. So at the beginning, there's just one verse. Oh, yeah, please.
Bhante, there's one question. Can we take the particle no as having simply an emphatic sense, like indeed, or something like that?
Possibly. I was looking in the commentary to see if it explains the no. And it doesn't even, so far from what I could see, there's no explanation of it. Oh, it says the no here is in the sense of emphatic emphasis. So maybe it's a way of just putting extra stress on the initial n. Yeah, so maybe not for us, but simply there is none equal to the Tathagata.
Okay, Bhante. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on verse 224? Okay, so we start off with just one verse on the Buddha, but there'll be a couple of verses later on the Buddha. Then we come to verse 225. Now we come to two verses on the Dhamma, praising the qualities of the Dhamma. The sutta is actually very sophisticated, and it seems to be referring to various passages in the prose Nikayas. So first verse on the Dhamma will be a praise of Nibbana, and then the second verse will be a praise of the Samma Samadhi of the Noble Path. So we have Kayang Viragang Amatang Panitang
Kayam viragam amatam panitam
Yad Ajjaga Sakyamuni Samahito
yada jaga sakya muni samahito
Natena Dhammena Samatti Kinchi
natena dhammena samatti kinchi
Idampi Dhamme Ratanang Panitang
idam pidhamme ratanam panitam
Etena Sachena Suwati Hotu.
etena satyena suvati hotu.
Okay, so it starts off with a series of 1, 2, 3, 4 terms designating nibbana. So first is kayang, which can mean destruction, and that is probably referring to some passages which speak of nibbana as raga kayo, dosa kayo, moha kayo, the destruction of greed, destruction of hatred, destruction of delusion. Then viragam, so dispassion, and then amatang, so this is the deathless, and panitang. Panitang is the sublime, the excellent. And then it says yad ajjaga, so which, the yad is which, ajjaga, this is a aorist form of the verb adhigachati, which we just had when we were looking at the Alagadupama Sutta. We had that the devas na adhigachanti, that they do not find the consciousness of the Tathagata. So here, this is the aorist form. And so the aorist is, can anybody explain how we get this aorist here? Somebody? Nobody? Do I have to explain it myself? Boe,
I think there's an augment.
yeah,
So it's ati plus a augment,
yeah,
and dhi plus a, and that I is becomes y,
yeah,
and then ya can stand, so becomes
yeah,
jjh.
right. Yeah, and then this is the ending for that particular class of aorus. So it's based on the root gum. Does anybody know what kind of aorus this is? Lauren, do you know this?
It looks like a root aorist.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
They dropped the nasal.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so that's how it's formed. So it's that which was discovered, found, or attained by Sakyamuni. Sakyamuni, of course, is the Buddha, who's described as samahito, which is concentrated. That is, he was in a state of samadhi. This would be the world transcending samadhi when he discovered, attained that nibbana, which is the destruction of greed, hatred, and delusion, dispassion, deathless, and sublime. So we have the relative pronoun yad here, and then this is completed by the demonstrative tena, the instrumental. So with that Dhamma, that is with nibbana, there is nothing equal. So this is the sublime jewel in the Dharma. By this truth, may there be well-being or good fortune. So as for, I'm just putting the whole verse together, trying to follow the order of the lines. As for that which is destruction, dispassion, the deathless, the sublime, which Sakyamuni achieved, attained in samadhi, there is nothing equal to that Dhamma. This is the sublime jewel in the Dhamma. By this truth, may there be good fortune. Okay, then we'll try to get one more verse in so that we complete the section on the Dhamma. So now comes the praise of the samadhi of the path. Probably this will be the samadhi immediately preceding the fruit of arhatship. So we read first together. Yam Buddha Seto Parivanai Suching.
Yam Buddha Setho Parivarnayi Suchim.
Samadhim Anantari Kanyamahu.
Samadhimanantari Kanyamahu.
Samadhina Tena Samona Vijati.
Samadhina Tena Samona Vijati.
Idampi Dhame Ratanang Panitang.
Idam Pidhamme Ratanam Panitam.
Etena Sachena Suwati Hotu.
Etena Sachena Suvati Hotu.
Okay, so first we have the pronoun yang, which goes to suching. Suching is purity, and it's the accusative object. And then the subject in the nominative is Buddha Seto. Some might translate this as the best of Buddhas, but that would be, I think, a mistranslation, because note that it's not the case that one Buddha is better than the others, but rather the sense here is the Buddha who is the best of beings. Or as some translators have it, the supreme Buddha. So that purity, and then the verb is parivanai, which is an aorist with the meaning of praised. So that purity which the supreme Buddha praised, which they call this the samadhi. Then we have, I think this is which they call, it's the samadhi without anything in between. So this must be the samadhi immediately preceding the breakthrough to realization. Maybe it's this in the Theravada Abhidhamma system. Probably it's the samadhi in the path of arhatship, immediately preceding the fruit of arhatship. Though other tenet systems might interpret this differently. Savastivada has a different way of explaining realization. So I think in the different commentarial systems, different interpretations of this expression. But apparently it's a samadhi, a world transcending samadhi that leads directly to the ultimate fruit. So he says, there does not exist, that's navijati, an equal of that samadhi, an equal with that samadhi does not exist. This too is a sublime gem in the Dhamma. By this truth, may there be well-being. So just to put it all together. So that which is the purity, the purity which the Supreme Buddha praised, which they call the samadhi without any interval, without anything in between. An equal of that samadhi does not exist. This is the sublime jewel in the Dhamma. By this truth, may there be well-being. Okay, so any questions on this verse?
Bhante, does parivannai come from parivanneti?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, so it's
Explain that.
Yeah, parivaneti.
It's an aorist.
Parivaneti would be the regular indicative, and then it forms the aorist. This way. Okay, so any other questions? Okay, if there's no questions, then we will just stop here. And then remember, we won't have a class next week, so the next class will be third. Wait. Third. Help me with the dates.
I think September 6th, Bhante. Oh, September 13th.
September 13th. That's right. That's right. 4th, 5th, 6th. That's right. September 13th. Okay, so let us then end. We could do 3 bows to the Buddha. 1, 2. Bow to Buddha Setang. Okay. Okay, so thank you for joining.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay,
Thank you, Bhante.
okay. Okay,
Thank
okay,
you,
take care.
Bhante.
Okay.
Thank you, Bhante.